You're not here to feel better. You're here to get sharper. Because comfort is how men stay tame, and tame men are easy to steer. The world doesn't need your good intentions. It needs your weakness, so it can sell you distractions, drain your focus, and keep you reactive. But if you're listening right now, it means something in you is tired of being pulled around by impulse. You don't want a calmer life. You want a controlled life. Control of your mouth, your mind, your chaos, and your money. The 4 doors where power either enters your life or gets stolen from it. Most people never realize they're leaking power because it doesn't leak like blood. It leaks like breath in winter, quiet, invisible, constant. A sentence said too fast, a thought allowed to spiral, a room left in disorder, a paycheck spent like it's already dead. And then one day they wake up and wonder why nobody respects them, why life feels heavy, why they always feel behind. It's not bad luck. It's poor command. So listen closely. What I'm about to give you isn't motivation. It's a blueprint. A way of moving through the world like a man who cannot be pushed off his center. Not because he's loud, not because he's aggressive, because he's governed. And the first place you establish government is your mouth. Your mouth is not just words. Your mouth is the border of your kingdom. Every time you speak without purpose, you're letting strangers walk in and inspect the walls. Most men don't understand this. They treat speech like a release valve, talking to reduce tension, joking to soften themselves, explaining to be understood, confessing to feel lighter. But what feels like relief is often surrender. Because loose words do 3 dangerous things. They reveal your emotional temperature, they expose your strategy, and they give people material. And people will use material. Not always with malice. Sometimes with boredom, sometimes as social currency, sometimes as a weapon. The point is, once the information leaves your mouth, it doesn't belong to you anymore. You can't call it back. You can't rewrite how it lands. You can't control who repeats it, reshapes it, or aims it at you later. That's why disciplined men speak like architects, not like tourists. They don't narrate their life. They design how it is perceived. Here's the essence. Speech creates shape, and shape becomes reality in other people's minds. If you talk too much, you look needy. If you over-explain, you look uncertain. If you vent emotionally, you look exposed, and exposure invites pressure. But if you speak with economy, if you answer cleanly, briefly, on purpose, then your words stop being noise and start being weight. People lean in. They study your tone. They measure themselves around you. Because silence, used correctly, is not emptiness. It's a trap. Think of it like this. Most men walk around throwing sparks everywhere, and then they're shocked when someone starts a fire in their life. But a controlled man keeps his fire in a furnace. He doesn't let it fly. He forges with it. Silence is not passivity. Silence is a vault. The vault doesn't beg to be trusted. It simply doesn't open. And when you become that kind of man, you don't need to demand respect. People start rationing their behavior around you because they can't read you. And what they can't read, they can't play. So your first discipline is simple, but brutal. Stop speaking to fill space. Stop explaining to buy approval. Stop confessing to earn closeness. Let your presence do the talking. Let your eyes do the measuring. If a sentence doesn't create advantage, don't spend it. Because every word is a coin, and most men spend their fortune on nothing. Now, once your mouth becomes a gate, the next battlefield becomes obvious. Your mind. Your mind is the throne, Everything you do is the decision, and every decision comes from the quality of your thinking. But most men leave their mind unlocked like a convenience store at midnight, open to anyone, anything, every impulse, every notification, every opinion that wants a piece of them. They let their mood steer them. They let fear rewrite their plans. They let desire drag them from task to task like a dog chasing headlights. And then they call it life. No, that's occupation. Your mind is being occupied. The essence of mental control is separation. You separate feeling from action. You separate noise from signal. You separate your identity from your current emotion. Because emotion is not evil, it's just a bad commander. Emotion is weather. Calculation is navigation. The weak man obeys the storm. The strong man reads the storm and adjusts the sails without panic. So you train your mind like a weapon, not by pretending you never feel, but by refusing to let feelings make decisions for you. When people insult you, they want a reaction. When chaos hits, it wants your attention. When temptation appears, it wants your appetite to take the wheel. And the moment your mind becomes a puppet, your life becomes a stage where other people pull strings. Guard what enters you, what you watch, what you scroll, what you tolerate, what you repeat in your head. Because inputs become thoughts, and thoughts become habits, and habits become a fate you didn't choose. A disciplined mind is not positive. It's selective. It chooses what to consume like a king chooses who gets an audience. Here's the metaphor. Your mind is a fortress, but most men use it like a marketplace. A fortress has walls, gates, guards, and rules. A marketplace lets anything in because it worships traffic. If you want power, stop building a marketplace. Build a fortress. And when your mouth is controlled and your mind is fortified, you'll notice something strange. The world starts to feel slower. People feel easier to read. Pressure feels less personal. That's not magic. That's what happens when you finally stop bleeding power through the two most common wounds, speech and thought. Once your mouth stops leaking power and your mind stops wandering, you begin to notice the third force most men never tame. Chaos. Not the dramatic kind, explosion, crises, disasters, but the quiet, grinding chaos of disorder, the missed deadlines, the cluttered room, the unfinished plans, the constant feeling of being behind your own life. Chaos is not loud at first. It whispers, it piles up, and before a man realizes it, it owns him. The world is naturally chaotic. That part is unavoidable. What is avoidable is letting that chaos rule you. Weak men live in reaction mode. They wake up already late. They move from urgency to urgency, mistake motion for progress and exhaustion for effort. They feel busy, but they're building nothing. Their energy leaks in every direction, and at the end of the day, they wonder why they're tired with nothing to show for it. The Machiavellian mind sees chaos differently. Chaos is not the enemy. Chaos is raw force, unshaped, unrefined, dangerous only when uncontrolled. The difference between a storm that destroys cities and wind that turns turbines is structure. Discipline doesn't kill chaos. It harnesses it. Here's the essence. Order creates leverage. When your environment is ordered, your energy compounds instead of evaporates. When your schedule is structured, your focus sharpens. When your space is clean, your mind stops bleeding attention. This isn't about aesthetics. It's about command. A man who cannot command his surroundings will never command outcomes. Look at your body. Look at your room. Look at your calendar. These are not small things. They are mirrors. A disorganized man is broadcasting weakness without saying a word. He is announcing that his inner world is fragmented, and the world responds accordingly by overwhelming him. So you start small, but you start ruthlessly. You bring order where disorder has been tolerated. You stop letting mess pile up because you'll handle it later. Later is where power goes to die. You establish routines not because you're rigid, but because structure frees your mind from trivial decisions. Every decision you automate is energy saved for something that actually matters. Now understand this clearly. Order is not perfection. Perfection is fragile. Order is efficiency. Order is knowing where your time goes, where your money flows, where your energy leaks. It's choosing what deserves chaos and what demands control. Because a controlled man is not calm because life is easy. He's calm because his systems absorb pressure. Think of chaos like fire. Fire unmanaged burns everything down. Fire controlled forges steel. Your anger, your ambition, your lust, your restlessness, these are not flaws to be erased. They are fuel. But fuel without containment becomes destruction. Discipline is the containment. Structure is the forge. And when chaos is harnessed, something changes in how you move. You stop reacting. You start directing. Crises don't rattle you. They activate you. While others panic, you simplify. While others scatter, you narrow focus. This is how men become dangerous without being loud. Calm on the surface. Violence of execution beneath it. Now, once chaos bends to you instead of breaking you, the fourth force reveals itself. Money. Money is not just numbers. It is stored time, stored choices, stored freedom. And most men treat it like entertainment tickets, something to be spent quickly before it goes away. That mindset alone ensures it never stays. A man without money is not immoral or inferior, but he is exposed. He is forced to compromise, forced to tolerate disrespect, forced to accept conditions he would never choose if he had leverage. Here is the essence. Money is not the goal. Money is insulation. It insulates you from coercion, from panic, from dependence. Without it, every plan you make is fragile. With it, even silence becomes powerful. A Machiavellian man does not chase money emotionally. He does not worship it. He disciplines it. Every dollar is treated like a soldier. You do not send soldiers into meaningless battles. You deploy them where they multiply force. Weak men spend to feel something. Strong men spend to build something. Impulse is the enemy here. The system is designed to bleed you slowly. Subscriptions, distractions, comforts that weaken your edge while convincing you that you deserve them. And the moment your money is gone, your options shrink. Your voice softens. Your risk tolerance disappears. You become easier to control, so you reverse the flow. You invest before you indulge. You hoard when others flaunt. You stay liquid when others get trapped. You wait. You observe. You strike when panic creates opportunity. This requires patience, and patience is rare because it's uncomfortable, but discomfort is the price of independence. Here's the metaphor. Money is oxygen. You don't brag about breathing. You don't chase air for pleasure. You secure it so you don't suffocate when pressure hits. Without oxygen, strength means nothing. With oxygen, endurance becomes possible. A man who controls his money cannot be rushed, cannot be easily threatened, cannot be cornered. He always has a door, even if he never uses it, and doors are power. When your mouth is disciplined, your mind fortified, your chaos ordered, and your money controlled, something subtle happens. You stop needing external permission to move through the world. You're no longer negotiating with life, you're setting terms, and that's when the fifth force becomes unavoidable. Because without it, everything collapses back into weakness. That force is discipline itself, the spine that holds all power upright. Discipline is not a personality trait. It is a position you take against yourself. And most men refuse to take it because it feels violent. Discipline means saying no when every part of you wants comfort. It means moving when there is no applause, no guarantee, no immediate reward. That is why discipline separates men faster than talent ever could. Talent makes you noticeable. Discipline makes you inevitable. Here is the essence. Discipline is the force that keeps power from leaking back into weakness. Without it, your mouth loosens again. Your mind softens. Chaos creeps back in. Money slips through your fingers. Discipline is the lock on every door you've just built. And if the lock fails, everything inside gets taken. Weak men wait to feel ready. Strong men act while resistance is screaming in their chest. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes. It flares up and dies out. Discipline is mechanical. It does not care how you feel. It executes because execution is the rule. This is why disciplined men appear calm and unstoppable. They are not negotiating with themselves every morning. Every day presents the same quiet battle. Comfort versus command. Sleep in or rise early. Speak impulsively or stay measured. Scroll or study. Spend or invest. Skip or train. These are not small decisions. They are votes. And every vote shapes the man you are becoming. Think of discipline as gravity. You don't see it, but everything moves according to it. A man with weak discipline floats. He drifts from plan to plan, identity to identity. A man with strong discipline has weight. He pulls outcomes toward him simply by consistency. People trust him not because he promises, but because he arrives. This is where most men misunderstand Machiavellian power. They think it's about manipulation. It's not. Manipulation without discipline collapses. Real power comes from predictability in yourself and unpredictability to others. You do what you say. You do it repeatedly, and you do not explain yourself while doing it. Discipline also crafts appearance, not image, but presence. When a man is disciplined, his body tightens, his eyes steady, his speech slows. There is no rush in him, no hunger for validation, and people feel that immediately, because self-control is visible even when nothing is said. It radiates, it unsettles, it commands space. Here's the metaphor. Discipline is the blade's edge. You can have the strongest steel in the world, but without a sharp edge, it's just weight. Discipline sharpens everything you already have. Intelligence becomes strategy. Anger becomes drive. Desire becomes fuel. Without discipline, those same traits rot into excuses. Now, once discipline is in place, something more advanced becomes possible. You can begin to control not just yourself, but how others experience you. This is where power shifts from internal to external. This is where perception enters. Power is never only about what is true. It is about what is believed. And belief moves people faster than truth ever will. Men like to think they operate on logic. They don't. They operate on impressions, on signals, on stories they tell themselves about who is strong, who is safe, and who is dangerous. The essence of perception is this. People respond to what they see, not what you intend. You may be capable in private, but if you appear uncertain, you will be treated as weak. You may be struggling internally, but if you project stability, the world treats you as solid. This is not deception. This is strategy. A Machiavellian man does not overshare his inner world. He does not broadcast fear, doubt, or confusion. Not because he doesn't feel them, but because he understands that visibility is vulnerability. Once others see your cracks, they press on them. Not always consciously, but instinctively. So you become deliberate. Your silence is intentional. Your words are measured. Your reactions are minimal. You never let them see you rush. Never let them see you beg. Even when pressure is high, you move slowly. Because slowness under pressure signals control. And control breeds obedience. Think of perception like armor. You don't wear armor because you're invincible. You wear it because battles happen. And when they do, the man who looks unshaken gains advantage before the first move is made. His enemies second-guess themselves. His allies hesitate before crossing him. This is why transparency is overrated. Transparency makes you relatable, but relatability does not protect you. A man can be authentic without being exposed. Authenticity is loyalty to your purpose. Transparency is giving people access. You owe the world none of that. Here's the metaphor. Perception is the mask of the king, not to hide his face, but to control the moment. Sometimes you wear generosity, sometimes distance, sometimes warmth, sometimes coldness. The mask changes. The purpose does not. Once discipline hardens your core and perception shapes your outer shell, something changes in how people approach you. Conversations shift. Challenges soften. Disrespect hesitates. And that's when the next force emerges, the one most men misunderstand completely: fear and respect. Fear and respect are not opposites. They are allies when handled correctly. Most men fail here because they chase love. They want approval, smiles, warmth, validation. And in doing so, they trade away authority. Love is fragile. It evaporates the moment you stop giving. Fear, when paired with respect, endures. It anchors behavior. It makes people pause before acting against you. And that pause, that hesitation, is power. Here is the essence. Fear is about consequence. Respect is about competence. Fear alone turns people rebellious. Respect alone turns them careless. But when people both respect your ability and fear the cost of crossing you, they regulate themselves around you. You don't need to threaten. You don't need to raise your voice. Your presence does the work. Weak men try to intimidate loudly. They posture. They overreact. They broadcast aggression because they have no gravity. Strong men do the opposite. They are controlled, measured, silent when others expect noise. And because their reactions are rare, they carry weight. People don't fear the man who shouts. They fear the man who doesn't need to. Fear is psychological, not physical. It's the awareness that actions have consequences, that disrespect will not be tolerated, that betrayal will not be forgiven cheaply. You establish this not with violence, but with consistency. When lines are crossed, you act cleanly, decisively, without drama. And once people see that pattern, fear installs itself without effort. Respect, on the other hand, is earned through mastery. You do what others cannot. You remain stable when they panic. You deliver when pressure rises. You don't promise loudly. You perform quietly. Men respect results. They respect clarity. They respect men who are not swayed by emotion or opinion. When your words align with your actions, respect follows naturally. Think of the wolf. It does not roar constantly. It does not chase every threat. But the forest adjusts around it. Its presence reshapes behavior. That is the balance you seek. Not hatred, not affection, gravity. Now, once fear and respect are established, something becomes possible that weak men never experience: strategic relationships. No man rises alone, but no intelligent man trusts blindly. Relationships are not built on sentiment. They are built on leverage, usefulness, and positioning. This truth offends people who want the world to be softer than it is. But power does not reward innocence. It rewards awareness. Here is the essence. People are loyal to incentives, not ideals. They stay where benefit flows and leave when it dries up. This does not make them evil. It makes them human. The mistake weak men make is believing loyalty is unconditional. The mistake strong men avoid is depending on it. A Machiavellian man builds relationships the way an engineer builds bridges, designed for load, stress-tested, replaceable if damaged. He is useful without being dependent, valuable without being exposed. He gives enough to be needed, never enough to be owned. You position yourself strategically. With the powerful, you offer competence and discretion. With the chaotic, you offer stability. With the ambitious, you offer opportunity. And with everyone, you maintain distance, not coldness, clarity. Because the moment someone has emotional leverage over you, your decisions stop being clean. Cut ties without hesitation when relationships drain you. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly, ruthlessly. Your time, attention, and energy are finite resources. Spending them on people who weaken your position is self-betrayal. Here's the metaphor. Relationships are chess pieces, not decorations. They are moved with intention, sacrificed when necessary. Never mistaken for the king. You don't confide your strategy to pawns. You don't assume allies will never turn. You stay adaptive. And this leads to the next force, the one that determines whether everything you've built compounds or collapses. Patience and timing. Impatient men expose themselves. They rush. They reveal plans too early. They strike without advantage. And then they wonder why they're exhausted with nothing to show for it. Patience is not passivity. It is restraint under pressure. It is the ability to wait while others bleed themselves dry. The essence here is leverage. Time reveals information. Time exposes weakness. Time ripens opportunity. The longer you can wait without losing position, the stronger you become. Because while you observe, others reveal. While you stay silent, others overplay their hand. Timing is the execution of patience, knowing when to act and when not to, knowing when to slow down while others rush, and when to accelerate while others freeze. This is not instinct. It is awareness trained through discipline. Think of the predator. It does not chase every target. It waits for the moment where effort is minimal and outcome is maximal. One clean strike beats 10 wasted pursuits. Life is no different. When you master timing, the world starts reacting to you. You stop explaining yourself. You stop defending your pace. You move when the field favors you. And when you do, your actions feel inevitable. By now, you should feel the shape of what's being built. A man governed from the inside, protected on the outside, strategic in motion, dangerous in stillness. There is only one step left. And that is becoming untouchable. Becoming untouchable is not about avoiding enemies. It is about removing their access. Every man who rises will attract resistance. Envy, suspicion, quiet hostility. These are taxes on strength. The mistake weak men make is trying to be liked to escape conflict. That only invites more of it. The untouchable man does not negotiate for peace. He builds height. He stands where attacks can no longer reach. Here is the essence. Untouchability is sovereignty. It is the state where your life is no longer governed by reaction, approval, or dependence. You do not need permission to move. You do not need validation to act. You do not need reassurance to persist. Your center is internal, and because it is internal, it cannot be seized. This is not isolation. It is independence. Look at everything you've built so far. Your mouth no longer betrays you. Your mind is no longer a battlefield others can invade. Your chaos has been harnessed into structure. Your money gives you options instead of anxiety. Your discipline executes without emotion. Your perception is controlled. Fear and respect regulate how others treat you. Your relationships are strategic. Your patience makes your timing lethal. Together, these form an inner empire. And empires fall only when they depend on forces outside their borders. Most men never build this. They live externally. They are shaped by mood, by attention, by desire, by fear of loss. They react. They explain. They chase. And because of that, they are always reachable. Insults hook them. Temptation derails them. Betrayal devastates them. Pressure collapses them. The untouchable man is different. He does not flare when provoked. He does not fold when ignored. He does not rush when tempted. He does not beg when threatened. His nervous system is trained. His reactions are chosen. And because nothing pulls him off center, people stop trying. This is the paradox. The less you seek control over others, the more control you gain. Because control over self creates gravity. Gravity does not argue. It pulls. Think of untouchability like altitude. When you are low, every rock can hit you. Every voice reaches you. Every distraction grabs you. But as you rise, noise fades. Attacks lose force. Petty conflicts become irrelevant. Not because you are hiding, but because you are above them. This does not make you cold all the time. It makes you precise. You can be warm when warmth is useful. Ruthless when ruthlessness produces results. Silent when silence creates leverage. You are not bound to a single mask. You choose what serves the moment. And understand this clearly. The world will test you. It will offer pleasure to soften you, praise to weaken you, chaos to distract you, false loyalty to entangle you. Every man who builds power is tested this way. The difference is that you no longer enter these tests unarmed. Women, money, comfort, attention, these are not enemies. They are tools or traps depending on who holds command. Weak men are ruled by them. Strong men place them in service. And the untouchable man is never owned by what he enjoys. This is why silence remains your final weapon. You do not announce your growth. You do not advertise your discipline. You let results accumulate quietly. Because power that is broadcast becomes a target. Power that is felt becomes law. Here's the final metaphor. Becoming untouchable is becoming weather. You do not argue with weather. You adapt to it. You prepare for it. You respect it. It does not chase. It arrives. And when it does, everything else adjusts. You are no longer trying to win every exchange. You are building a position where exchanges no longer matter. You are no longer reacting to the game. You are shaping the board. This is Machiavellian mode, not cruelty, not ego, not domination for its own sake, but mastery. Mastery of self first, then mastery of circumstance. And from that mastery comes freedom. Say it to yourself, not for the comments, not for display, but as an internal law. I am untouchable. Because the moment that belief becomes behavior, you stop chasing power. You become it.